Hi everyone, this is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels, Love Travel Scotland, and Crypto Mom 2. And as you can see on my talk show side, I have a lot of different things that are going on, and I want to welcome everyone to my blog as well as to my talk shows. Today, I am so excited to be talking about a country that I have yet to explore, but it's on my to-do list, and it's Croatia. And I have a special friend who is hopping on that I'm going to be working with a lot over the course of this year because I am starting to book charters in the area of yachts and boating and cruises and everything that you can think about from A to Z. So I'm learning all about this area. You guys are going to be learning with me. Some of you might be more experienced, and that's great. I might not be the expert in this yet, but I have partners like my friend who's going to be introducing herself in a quick second, who has been in this business for many years. So for those that don't know about my background, let me just share. I'm a teacher, but I'm also an attorney, and I'm also a certified travel agent. So definitely when you come to me, because I have traveled around the world and I'm still, exploring places that are on my to-do list, I do have a little bit of knowledge, and I'm partnering with those that have more knowledge. So from the insurance side to the booking side. So whatever questions you have, I'm happy to answer them. And if I don't know the answers, I'll find out for you. So today we're going to be all about Croatia. And Maya, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for inviting me on this call. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I have to say to everyone, Maya's super funny, and we were not recording, and I was laughing, because of a lot of the things that she was sharing. I want you to share a little bit about your background and how you got into this. And, all of us kind of come to the path in a different way. And
Mhm.
mine definitely has not been straight and narrow in terms of what I'm doing. So why don't you share a little bit more? Because I was very inspired by your personal story.
Yeah, so I was born in Croatia and I lived here for 20 years. And then I moved with my ex-husband to London, UK, where I lived for 6 years. Then I moved to New York, Manhattan, New Jersey, Richmond, Virginia, and then ended up in Chicago. And then something struck me where I went back to Croatia 3.5 years ago. I used to work in banking, JP Morgan. And why I chose tourism is because I see Croatia through different eyes than I did when I was young. So I took a lot of things for granted. I thought every country is like that. But now coming back here, I actually see there are kind of quirks. There, it's a great country to visit. You get a lot to experience a lot in a very short time. It's not generic. It's very different because you have influence of East, because we border with Muslim countries. You have influence from Austrians, which are really squared away. You have influence on the lower part from Italy. And then you have us, who are just a bunch of mixed up people and foods and experiences, culture. And I haven't realized that before. It's like a little New York in one. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I know we're going to be talking about the islands, but you had told me when we first chatted that you
Mhm.
go 2 miles away and it's so different than, the village that you might be coming from. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of diversity.
Yes, I would. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that being broadcasted, but because Croatians they're very warm and welcoming people when you come here for a holiday. However, they're very stubborn and closed, and that makes sense because if you're constantly on the verge to be protecting the West and being the last exit of the West to the East, you have to understand that the mentality is a little bit harder if you live here. So you get a situation where one place does not share things with the other place, which creates a completely different culture, and it creates a completely different folklore and a different dialect. So you have villages that are one next to each other, but because they protect themselves so much, I don't know from what, but they still do. They created this different microcosmoses that exist in Croatia. So I was telling you about islands. The normal thing would be if you go from one island to the next, you can feel where you are. But here, because islands were so isolated, everybody developed their own way they cook, way they build, the way they behave, the way they just present themselves. So you can go 2 miles apart and you wouldn't even know that you're still in the same country. So I think from a perspective of a traveler, this is really a diverse and rich area where you can take 10-day or 8-day holiday and feel like you've really experienced every day was different. It's not like red and white, or red and blue, or it's not generic. It's definitely very, very, very colorful. Yeah.
So what I have done right now, for those that are on the video side, you'll see I am sharing some pictures. For those on the audio side, it definitely will ask that you kind of hop over to my JCooperTravels YouTube side so you can see. We're going to be exploring a little bit about the tours that you can do in Croatia. And again, everything is personalized. You know, there's so much uniqueness. And I know, we were talking offline about the hand holding and the really the concierge mindset, that goes into these packages because of both luggage arriving, you're arriving, everything has to happen and be coordinated with you. So I'm going to kind of scroll through, and Maya's going to kind of be our tour guide. But again, I was super impressed when I first started my affiliation with the company. And I know I was looking for guidance on, yacht charters, as well as, luxury packages. And tell us a little bit more about maybe the history of the company and
Yes.
what kind of yachts and experiences people can kind of have when they are booking through me through you.
So this company actually started 20 years ago. It's a family-owned company. There was one lady who started organizing the land tours. So during those 20 years, she and her son managed to hone the creme de la creme of everyone who's providing the best reliable service on land. We started yacht chartering only 2-3 years ago, which usually when you have a travel company, they start yachting first and then they don't have a lot to offer once when person gets to some island. Because we have done it the other way around, it actually turned to be a pretty good deal, because now when we go on yachts, we already have the whole infrastructure in place for the last 20 years. The partners who are educated, speak the languages, they know our tours. We have over 250 of them, but having said that, every tour can be customized. So we are the only company who is able and allowed to close Dubrovnik city walls for a private dinner. And
Wow.
Dubrovnik city wall is actually a UNESCO site where you have 5 million people waiting to get on it. But because we have this level of trust, and because of what the owners of the company have done through the years, we are really highly reliable company to work for. And we are also supported by Croatian Tourist Board. What's extremely special about us is the lady. It's a wife of my boss, who is a 24-hour concierge, and she reads all of the materials. So we all know our materials. We all pitch in it all the times, but she reads every one of them diligently. And then in a case something happens, and it always does, and it's always Sunday or Saturday afternoon, the people do not call you for help. They actually call us, because we have their itinerary. We know where they are. We have our partners on land. So since the moment they land to the moment they leave, we're like their shadow. They don't know it. It's kind of scary, but we know every single moment where they are and what they will experience, what kind of weather is it going to be. We have alternatives ready for them in a case it gets to wind. We are also the only company in Croatia who with an office in the US, which makes it extremely easy for clients. If you have a client, they pay with a credit card to a US company, so you don't have any issues with converting into euros or any issues with a credit card. So this is really, really helpful. So we do work with individuals. If you have a couple of 2 people that want to go on catamaran, of course, they're not going to go on a yacht of 36 people. They can take a catamaran. They can have a very private experience. We hone the itinerary for them. They sometimes have the idea what they want to do, but then we're here to educate our partners, like our agents, what's possible, what makes sense, because your customer usually flies over for a very long time, and sometimes they're very enthusiastic of how much they want to see, not realizing Croatia is actually very long, so it takes time. So we are here to give the best suggestions, just thinking of how would I feel if I flew from west or east coast, had 2 layovers, and landed now to Croatia, and I have 8 days. So this is what we do. We really take it personally.
So for those that are on the slide side, I'm showing that there's, for if you don't know this, there are 8 national parks within Croatia and over 1,266 islands. That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the most colorful countries in the world compared to how much islands we have.
Yeah.
Most of them are uninhabited, but you can still get there.
Yeah, especially by the water for sure. And then there were 10 UNESCO sites. I mean, that is amazing too. So on the tours that you might create, are this tours standard or are they each one different? How does that work?
It depends on your customer. So if your customer is into gastro, we can tailor the complete itinerary to be about gastro and wine. In a majority of cases, there is no one person likes only one thing. So most of the people want to taste the wine, want to taste the Eastern truffle. They want to go and see the Game of Thrones side. So and then we mix and match. So I haven't yet encountered, even though we do have these tours like gastro or wine or nature, I haven't yet encountered a couple or a person who is only interested in one thing. So we do not have itineraries made. We do not sell package itineraries, but we ask you, okay, so what is your age? What do you like to do? What do you plan to achieve on these holidays? And how can I really be of a service to help you get through everything and to feel like you really done the best holidays of your life?
So I'm scrolling down now and we're getting to the yachts and there's different
Mhm.
types of yachts. There's the catamarans. By the way, do you have a favorite? I mean, if you were to go on one of them, would you have a favorite or do you like all of them?
As an ex-banker, I cannot talk about, these are my clients. They, my partners and my clients, we have a contract with every one of them. And if I said I have a favorite, that would be very uncool for me. So I'm going to say no, I don't have a
Well,
favorite.
not so much the manufacturer, but the size of the boat. Is there a certain size that you enjoy the most? Because I'm looking through, there's mini cruisers,
Mhm.
there's the sailboats, the catamarans, there's the motor yachts. The diversity just keeps going
Yeah.
on and on.
Well, that would depend on a company and the mood. So if I feel like I'm extra energized this summer and I have a couple, like 4 people or 2 people, then I would definitely take a smaller yacht or a catamaran. Then we would be whizzing around, speeding, and they're much more flexible. You can moor, anchor anywhere where you want. You can leave anytime. You know, it's very flexible. So these are almost like, take it as a bicycles of the sea.
True.
So this is how I see them. They're bikes of the sea. And then if you have like a team building, or if you want to have a family, we do have a lot of families who want to gather like for the 50th anniversaries, and they usually don't want children to go away party, but they trap them on a boat for this 7 days so they can be with their nannies. I mean, seriously, it is like that. Then we would advise to go on a mini cruiser or gullets. And gullets are those sailing yachts that are made of wood. If you're going, so I'm still relatively young, and there's a lot of friends and families who have children. and then they are petrified, like, what am I going to do on a yacht? Well, there is this gullet, the old ones that have sides, the wooden sides that are really high, they're up to your shoulder. So I would advise, okay, these are also good, and these are fantastic for children. They can't climb and fall over, and they also are not exposed to full sun, because they can always stay in a shade, and they're not exposed to a huge heat that sometimes during summertime you do experience on land, because the sun heats the ground too, and then you have fires and hazards, and then you sometimes inhale smoke. So I would always say, if you have children, somebody who is frail, go on the sea, because you have a mobility. You can, the hazard, like in California, you got wildfires, you get it here too. It's the same thing that happens. So being on a sea, it's almost like being the wind. So you just choose where you want to go, even though you have the itinerary. Let's say you don't want to go on this island today because you just don't feel like it. You just say to the captain, and then you go. And then the captain calls us, just so we are aware that customer wanted to change the itinerary. We ask, if do you want us to organize something? The captain can organize, I can organize, no problem. So it's really, I think it's freedom. It's really a freedom to be on a vessel.
Yeah, so you mentioned the
Mm.
captain. How many crew members might be on the yacht?
Oof. Up to 10, 15. So your service, you have always a chef, you have a private chef, you have a captain, you have a cruise manager on the yachts, and these are the ones. So the way it works is, when we have a group of people who is coming, we hone down the itinerary with our cruise managers. So this is another concierge. So it's almost like having two concierges, because when something occurs, they don't have to pick up the phone. They can just go in a lobby and ask, hey, can you help me? And because they're our extended arm, they can. So we have a lot of crew, depends on the vessel. On a catamarans and those gullets, those are family owned. So it's families who choose their fleet, and it's usually families. So it's quite cozy. It's a different feel. And on mini cruisers and yachts, it's a little bit of a more posh experience, where you really feel like you're worth it. It's really a good holiday. It's really cool. It's nice.
Now, what about food? I know you and I
Mhm.
talked at a different time about different dietary needs, and
Mhm.
sometimes things needing to be kind of brought to the vessel. How does that work?
That works. That you actually do majority of the job, and this is where you and I work together, and I ask you 2 months ahead to give me a preference list for every customer. So you take their name, you take their date of birth, you take so in case they have an anniversary or something, but you also take their dietary needs. So there is a list for every person, what they like, what they dislike. Allergies, very important. So that list goes to their hotels, that list goes to every restaurant that we book or reserve, and that list goes to our cruise manager, captain, and the chef. So at any point, there is no chance for somebody who is allergic to peanuts or shellfish to get peanuts or shellfish. So we are all organized. We absolutely must have that list. So we understand that your customer sometimes don't feel like it's necessary, but it is, because when we get that list and when a captain gets it, he can buy a food and prepare. The chef can actually prepare a completely daily menu, because you don't have one person. You sometimes have 36 people on board. So he needs to make a plan for 7-day meal plan for 36 people, depending on what they like or dislike. And I can also prepare a travel, if you go on a tours. If somebody is allergic to shellfish and you have 2 people, I'm certainly not going to take them to a shellfish restaurant. So it's very important.
Yeah, it's very important.
Mhm.
So, what are during the calendar year, when are the excursions booked? Because I know you and I talked about the fact that there's a window of time of enjoying Croatia. So, what is the window that people can book their excursions?
So, well, to book the excursions, they should already book in 2024 now, because 2023 were booked.
Hmm.
Depending on their tolerance to heat, I would say the best time to go sailing is from end of May to like end of September. We also have sailings in April. This is for people, end of April. This is for people who are not into swimming and snorkeling because the water is still cold. And then October, it gets windy, but it's still, unfortunately, I would say it's still very, very warm. And I say unfortunately because when I was young, our season was ending in August, and now our season is until October, to the point where last year, 2022, I talked to a partner because season already ended, and it was end of October. They were on island of Brač, and I just called to thank them for what they've done for us. And he was on a beach swimming. It was 90 degrees, so the seasons got longer.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, the weather all around the world is changing, so for that reason. Um,
Mm.
I know we've talked about a lot. I know that for those that are listening, when you're interested in booking, definitely reach out to me at jcoopertravels@gmail.com, and my contact information will definitely be in the blog below. What else do you think that they should know that makes Croatia so special? There's so much I'm learning about the
Mhm.
country and the islands and the water and everything.
Mhm.
What other things do you want to share before we sign off?
Yes, well, we talked a little bit about the luggage, and I would say Croatians are very, very laid back people. So you really need a flip-flops and a skivvies when you get here. Nobody's going to judge you if you have a makeup or false eyelashes. Nobody cares. So it's a country where you still have naked kids running around because it's still very, very, it's too safe. You can leave your wallet. I mean, I wouldn't advise it, but it did happen to me that I left my wallet and I picked it up 6 hours later and everything was fine. I knew where I left it, so I wasn't worried. It's extremely safe. You get a direct flight from Dubrovnik to JFK. So that really opened up the country. But I would advise people to plan their trip. So plan your luggage, plan your trip. We have 3.8 million people scattered throughout the whole Croatia, and we have 5 million tourists only in one part of Croatia. So be prepared. If you are planning your land tours, we do need to know those advance. We got very busy because of Game of Thrones put Croatia on a map. So we got very busy, and we need to know ahead of a time, when are you going to arrive? How many of you is it going to be? Please make sure that your luggage does not exceed what is in terms and conditions. And that is because if we take a vehicle, we prepare for you a car, and you come with 3 big suitcases, we will have to take a van and we will have to charge you. And this is certainly not a good start of a holiday. So really, this is the country where you leave your belongings and awareness of your belongings, because nobody cares here. They're not capitalists at all. Just leave it at home and come without anything, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, it's the type of vacation where you can escape and enjoy and
Yeah,
relax and unwind and really just have fun.
yeah,
So I know I'm definitely looking forward to booking my time so
mhm,
I can also enjoy as well.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on.
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you enough for all the education that you're helping me with. And for everyone who's listening, remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all so interconnected. We're all part of one world. And I look forward to talking to each and every one of you as you decide where in the world you would like to travel. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank